Hey, what's up, folks? How have you been? This is BitPusher. I want to go over some cool stuff today, some stuff that's actually really exciting for me because it's fun. I've discovered something I didn't really know about that I like quite a bit. Came from a bad situation, but before I do, there's something I just want to kind of throw out to say I tried at least once to clear it up. Is my channel. Yes, I produce music under the name BitPusher. Yes, I'm extremely lazy, not very active. I've established my name and my website and all that for a decade as of now. Because I put out my first Atari stuff, my chip tunes back in 2010, right? But I just kind of do it when I feel like it. And same with this channel. I don't have a YouTube channel to get views and be a content creator and all that. I just occasionally like to screw around and make a video for fun. So, of course, thank you for watching and hanging out with me if you ever have or are now. I mean, that's really cool. But yeah, I'm not serious about it. It's just something I do for fun. So got that out of the way. And then, yeah. So anyway, that out of the way, the subject of today's video is Haiku OS. How I came about this, I had actually heard the name in years past, amongst many other things. I've always been interested in niche operating systems and stuff like that. I've messed with many. I like to keep my eyes open. I never actually thought Haiku was something else. I really thought, I never paid any attention to hardly to the name. I just thought it was another Linux distro, to be honest. So I had read something recently that led me to a YouTube video that led to another, and just was messing around online one day and actually read up on what Haiku OS was, and I found out it's a kind of a clone of an old school operating system that I wasn't a part of, because as we know, from I've talked about my past videos, I grew up with Apple, but it's either BOS or I think I heard it once called BEOS, but either way, or the BOS or the BEOS. For the sake of this video, I'm just going to call it BOS, like BE, because I don't know. Like I said, that was something I never had when I was a kid or had exposure to. But anyway, long story short, Haiku is freaking cool. Like, I really have a fascination with it, and I'm going to make a video today installing it on bare metal. Because I had been playing with it in VirtualBox, and I want to see how it actually does on the real thing. I haven't tried this yet on the real machine, just in VirtualBox. I'll probably, be deleting and not keeping this video if it doesn't work, but I'm pretty sure it will. Anyways, that's the other thing I want to talk about is the machine I'm installing it on. This little Acer, what was this model? I can't remember. XC704G. It was this little tower I got for like 80 bucks. That I did a video before about this where I turned it into a very awesome little free BSD box, because I do love BSD. Like, I have a serious affinity for free BSD. But something unfortunate had happened, and I still have no idea what. I went to fire it up one day. I had no sign anything was abnormal, and the hard drive was dead. I had this 512 gig PNY solid state drive in there. I hate traditional hard drives. Since the advent of solid state like SSDs, I way prefer those. So I put them in everything, even my Performa that I did that rebuild on. But anyways, the thing died, and I was like, what the hell? So I fired it up, and it didn't even see my hard drive. There was nothing. The BIOS didn't even see anything. Long story short, I dug through, and for some reason my system couldn't see it. And I thought, this tower is funny about legacy settings versus UEFI settings and stuff in the BIOS. I messed with it, nothing was happening. So then I stuck it in one of the extra bays in my Power Mac G4 over there just to see if it could see it, and it couldn't either. So, pardon me, I have no idea what the hell happened, but that thing was toast. So the lesson I definitely learned from all that was I'm never buying a PNY solid state drive again. I will stick to Samsung or something like that. But yeah, I was kind of pissed because it took a while to get FreeBSD configured for a good desktop with this machine. I didn't really know jack shit about the hardware, exactly what video driver it wanted for, you know, it's... Anyways, so while I was waiting to get the money to get another drive or come up with something, I wasn't terribly concerned about it because my Mac Mini over there is my daily driver for most stuff, or my MacBook Pro. I wasn't in a real hurry, but I kind of wanted my system back. So I found I do have a 128 gig Samsung Evo SSD that I wasn't using for anything. So I stuck that in here. And I was gonna, you know, put FreeBSD back on it because I sometimes I gotta have my damn Unix, you know. But somewhere in that time is when I had read about Haiku and tried it in VirtualBox, and something about Haiku OS just grew on me the moment I tried it. I just thought it was really cool. It's very minimalistic. It's a system that I believe will never really take off, just being honest, because it's very niche. I don't think your average people are going to be using it. It's never going to get shipped on a machine from a manufacturer. It's never going to see mainstream adoption. I'm just totally sure of that. And it's a very slow project, very slow. Because I think they had a release in 2012. And then there wasn't another official release until 2018, which is where we are now. Their official release is this beta version from 2018. Yet there's a 2020 fundraising drive on there. So I think the Haiku project, which I think they're trying to spin off of BSD's concept, where there's the FreeBSD Foundation, which is a separate nonprofit entity from the actual FreeBSD operating system website, even though they're interlinked, yet not, if that makes any sense. Haiku, and anyone out there is welcome to correct me, but Haiku appears to be the same way. You know, they're the two separate entities. I don't really get what they're doing. But either way, it's a very slow-moving project. It's not quickly, doesn't seem to be quickly chugging along. If we've gone from 2012 to 2018, and we're still in some beta, you know, releases and whatnot, that's fine. You'll have that with niche operating systems and stuff like that. It does make me sad that it doesn't look like something that's ever really going to take off and achieve like a leading status anywhere. I don't see it being used in a production environment or in an enterprise environment, or even in a small business environment. It just does seem like something that is dedicated to BEOS and that generation of, you know, computer users would go for it. And I could be wrong. I don't know. Either way, I'm on board. I fully support these guys. I even thought about donating a little money, just throwing some, you know, because I do that from time to time. I've donated to the BSD Foundation from time to time, just little bits, $10 here, there kind of thing. Haiku's really cool. It actually got me addicted enough that I'm considering maybe not running FreeBSD for a while, because I have been using that for a long time in my life, and dedicating this little dude here, since it's my only non-Macintosh working unit at the moment, other than my Colibri tower, which I'm keeping that. But yeah, so this cheap little tower has got I think it's dual 1.60 gigahertz AMD processors. It's all, you know, 64-bit, 4 gigs of RAM, and as of now, it's got this Samsung drive in it. I'm going to go through with my thumb drive here and do a bare metal native install of Haiku OS on this and give you a little tour if you're interested. So, and one other thing. This is the most inappropriate, weirdest time to bring it up. Makes no sense, right? But I want to give a shout out to my, you know, childhood, and I still love them to this day. One of my most favorite music groups of all time. I mean, yes, Prodigy, obviously. I love this shirt. Rest in peace, brother Keith Flint. But quick shout to Public Enemy. I loved Public Enemy ever since I was like 8 years old. I learned a lot from them. They gave me a whole different perception of my own history and American history and all that. But here's the thing. Check this out, guys. I got a sealed spanking new copy of Professor Griff's Blood of the Prophet album. Of all his solo albums, this one's my favorite. Like this CD is one of them that's stays in my vehicle in my little emergency collection. I love Professor Griff. Frankly, I never knew how this dude would feel about me because I'm white, obviously, and I know his stance on that history of of race differences and stuff is. I learned a lot from this man. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but any of my friends out here watching, if you like hip hop, you need this album. And the fact I found a sealed copy for $12 on Discogs, I'm just very happy to have this. This is so freaking cool. I'm going to break the seal on it and drop it on the deck soon because I have a turntable wired up to my stereo just to listen to it on vinyl. But I'm very excited about this. I'm so excited that, yes, I'm just breaking off in the middle of nothing and bringing it up in this video. But shout out to my man, Professor Griff. Every time this man speaks, I feel like I absorb something. And his, over the years, and this album is so goddamn dope. But anyways, hey, this type of weirdness is me being me, just breaking off. But let's get started. All right, guys, behind the board here, and I got the USB drive plugged into the front of the system. I just took the ISO image from haikuos.org and used Etcher to put it on the thumb drive. So let's do this. This puppy booted up. Hit F12 to bring up my boot menu there. All right, thumb drive. Not a terribly bad boot time considering we're coming right off a flash drive. And there we are. Thank you for trying out Haiku. We hope you'll like it. I have the option to boot to desktop or run installer, so we're going to go raw here and run installer. If you are installing Haiku onto real hardware, you may want to prepare a hard disk partition from another OS. You can also set up partitions by launching drive setup from installer, but you won't be able to resize existing partitions with it. Yep, we're going to use the built-in stuff. Continue. No partitions have been found. So let's do that. Let's just look how cool this is. It's minimalistic as hell, and I think it's gorgeous. I love this. So we'll set up partitions. Samsung SSD 830. That's the boy. We will initialize. I think I want the Intel option there. Yep. I'm a little, like I said, I haven't used this much, so you have to bear with me until I figure out what I'm doing. Okay, partition size maxed out. I have a lot of options here, I notice, from Linux, BSD, Mac OS even, which I find that very interesting, but we're going to use the B file system because this is BOS. Active, create. Yep, and then after that, I've created the partition. Now I got to format the partition. Yes, with the B file system. We'll call it Haiku. I like how they, when it comes to block size, how they explain this. And I'm just going to go with the recommended. The Partition Haiku has been formatted successfully, and I suppose since this is a SSD, that really wouldn't take a whole lot of time. So I will close this, and now there it is right there to choose from install from and install to. Look how fast this shit is. I love it. I just love that. If I were going to be kind, I could cut the video and edit it back in once this is done, but as fast as this goes, I'm just going to make you be stuck with me for another few extra seconds. And we're done. Installation completed. Boot sector has been written to Haiku. Okay, so I'm going to hit restart, and I'm going to remove thumb drive. So far, so good. Here we are. There it is, initializing my network. Now, how quick and easy was that? And while minimal as hell, I've played with this just a bit in the emulator or VirtualBox. I really haven't spent a hell of a lot of time with it, so I have a lot to learn myself. But this all looks good to me. This interface that they call the tracker, so it's a little different than your average thing. So like right from here, I have folders, my system folders, accessible from a right-click menu. And new C++ header, like this shit, you know, I don't know anything about coding, so that would certainly do me no good, but I suspect this environment would probably be, that stuff would be useful for somebody. Add-ons, background, disk usage, Zip-O-Matic, and there's a zip file maker. The little system bar up here, media preferences, sound preferences, open media player. So this feather up here, that's the system logo, that seems to be the main menu, kind of like the, I don't know, like a version of the Windows menu or something. Oh, snap. My apologies, guys. I thought this had a pair of AMD 64-bit chips in it. It's Intel Celerons. Sorry about that. Still not bad for 80 bucks. There's my 4 gigs of RAM. The system running is using 428 megs of that, so it's really not a heavy hitter in terms of hardware specs. I don't know what replicants are yet. I know that's something in the interface. I remember reading about it on the website. Don't remember what the hell it is. Now, built in right out of the rip, activity monitor, a PDF reader, something for interacting with your webcam. This I kind of want to show you. This Haiku Depot, it's pretty neat approach. Iconomatic. There's the system installer that we had before. I don't know why that'd be included on the desktop. Like, I don't have any clue. Unless it's like if you're going to stick a second drive in and try to do a native install there, but they included it. The media player is very basic. There are better options in their little, you know, so-called app store. But hey, I'm giving you a tour, right? And of course, I'm going to show you some of these things. Media converter. Now, this I have not. This is pretty nifty. I mean, it's a pretty slick little tool. Seems more to me to be focused on video than audio, but I can drop a source file in there and convert it AVI, DV, Matroska, MPEG, Ogg Vorbis audio, Ogg Video, and Wave. Kind of convenient for, you know, totally free, don't you think? Basic notepad. There are office suites like LibreOffice and stuff available in their app store, but we'll get to that soon enough. Some of these things I don't know what the hell they do. Poraman. No idea what that is. Software updater. This is really cool because this will save a lot of work. Look, packages to be updated, 99. So I could go through and have the system start downloading. Apparently an update to NASM assembler, Nano. Ugh, well, thanks on that. I'm more of a VIM guy myself. Yeah, so the system, I guess, similar to FreeBSD, is rather than being the jumbled, you know, clustered screw that Linux is, BSD is one coherent base and one coherent system, a full operating system. And this is similar because if you notice, it's using a lot of open source stuff, but it's updating all these libraries and things like font config, FFmpeg, all at once. I think that's very extremely convenient. And obviously, according to their website, you know, this does not have any Linux code in its kernel. This is sort of an original system. The only code from the actual BEOS that's in this is apparently this tracker interface, and there was one other piece of software. It's got a built-in mail client. I find it interesting that it just comes up ready to roll, and yet, you know, none of the accounts have been configured yet. All very basic, very minimalistic. And, you know, if you don't understand why the hell anyone would do this, there's lots of reasons. Other than people that love BEOS, running minimalistic systems like this give you all kinds of functionality and power, and even on low-end cheap hardware will make it screamingly fast, right? And like I said, I really personally would like to give a shout out to the Haiku folks because I think this shit's beautiful. This is just so cool. Yeah, I don't know what this TV app is supposed to do. I don't know if it's a movie player or what. Something else included. Something else I'll sit down and play with at some point. But for the sake of giving you a tour, I'm just going to keep rolling through some things. Good old terminal. I don't know how similar their console is to commands, you know, like Unix commands, Linux commands, and whatnot, but good to have. This one I had read a bit about, played with. WebPositive is their native system web browser. And this browser is apparently built on WebKit, so it's modern enough. Hard to tell if this was last updated in 2018. I am assuming so, since this version of the operating system is that old, but we discourage using beta versions as a production system. Your data could be altered, mangled, or downright destroyed. So they're honest about it. You know, they'll tell you. And the Haiku website, their welcome doc here has lots of links and information, as is the handbook. So, well, I call it the handbook because that would be how we do it in BSD. But user guide and handbook type of thing, all right off the rip. And you saw it took just moments to install this. Demos. I don't actually know what the purpose of these things are. Maybe they're just test programs or something for some messing with the libraries of the system. I see, like, I went to kill that and it just crashed itself. So I don't know. Cortex, no idea what in the hell that is. These demos, I mean, GL Teapot. Oh, okay. I noticed I made it bigger and the frames per second dropped. It's whatever's built into this $80 tower, guys, so of course this is going to be a sorry sight. And look, me moving my mouse around, it really slows it down versus it's a cheap system. Cheap tower, so it's not the system's fault. Oh, look at this. It didn't wipe the window very well. I think I know the trick to that. Don't mistake the system as buggy because of these demo software things here, though. Seriously, because this system, the whole time I messed with this in VirtualBox, it ran really well. Desktop applets. Desk bar up here, right? Or I could tell it to run in a window. Not gonna do that. Preferences. Whole list of shit going on here. Virtual memory, preferences for tracker. Okay. All these different configuration things, and I frankly don't know a hell of a lot about it. Screen config, and it's got my yep. What else can I dick around with? The appearance thing, changed the built-in fonts, which I like that. Colors. Oh, I see it. Cool. So theoretically, I could make the go through and find all these little elements one at a time and change their colors and really tweak the system, like the way I made the outside of this bar teal. Pretty nifty. Oh, I see. You're trying to change the basics. Oh, that's smooth and rounded, whereas B Decorator gives it a straight flat. This is probably, I'm guessing, that this very flat, sharp appearance here versus this is probably how the original BEOS was. Just guessing. But anyways, so yeah, that's basically the system right there. Very basic, very easy to use. That's interesting. Oh, look at that. Where the hell did that come from? Cool. Nice touch, guys. Nice touch. You can move the Haiku logo around on the wallpaper or apply my own wallpaper, which once I get this system actually in use, I'm going to do that. But let's get to the cream of the crop here. I know that there's some of the Linux distros that are trying to do something like this. You can add repositories and stuff, and there's a few out there that's linked right from the BEOS website. But yeah, so I'll pull this up, and just to install a piece of software is just this easy. Admittedly, I've never heard of 90% of this shit, and I don't know if it's functional, how functional it is or isn't. Like I said, I never had any experience with BES, but there's a CD burning application, and it's as easy as clicking install. Burn It Now is a GUI front end for CD record and make ISO FS. So that's slick. Calligra Office Suite, I presume, has that appearance anyway. Font manager right there, yep. Oops. My bad. Where was I? Somewhere down this way. KTorrent, KeyPass, Qt password manager, Color Paint. I really wish GIMP were here, but due to the fact that these aren't Linux apps, but ports of Linux apps to the BEOS system, this stuff is only going to run if someone has taken the time to port it to Haiku. It has to be ported for Haiku. I can't go out and grab a Debian package or a Red Hat package or whatever and install it, unfortunately. At least as far as I'm aware. I thought I read that you can't, but there's LibreOffice. Now that's a real Office suite. MPlayer, Midnight Commander, NetSurf, that's kind of a piece of crap. I never liked it. Otter browser, never heard of that. Might be worth a try. Might be more up to date than the one that's built in here. I remember looking at the ScumVM, gotta have that. There is there's this internet streaming thing for internet radio stations. So there's your Pandora and Spotify and all that, I'm sure. Transmission, that's my preferred BitTorrent client myself. Vim, must have that. Let's do that right now. Wireshark, some other stuff. And that's just if you go with the featured packages. If you unclick this box here now, you have not just packages of like applications like that show featured, but I mean, everything that you can possibly install on the system. There's TimeCop, tool to collect statistics about your computer usage, and all these different libraries, system libraries you can download. It's just this convenient. It'll just do it. You just click on something and hit install, and if it's got dependencies, it'll even go out and fetch those. Trying to find one here that might have some dependencies, because it'll just automatically fetch whatever its dependencies are and do that too. Oh, BePotter, BePotter, a media aggregator. I assume for podcasting. That would be pretty nifty. Downloading package Picasso. Let's grab something with some meat, like MPlayer. It plays most blah 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 Creo Media and H.264 movies. There we go. The following additional package changes have to be made. Install package Haiku beta blah blah blah, bzip, libxml, and curses, libog, lib, yep. There's quite a list there. And it's uninstalling some of the older versions of some of the ones already in there. That is friggin' convenient. I mean, this is the type of stuff that I know that I know other systems automatically do nowadays. Whereas like back when I first started learning Unix, Slackware did not do this. You know, I remember doing a lot of dependency tracking and all that. But anyways, so in a nutshell, this is Haiku OS. This is what it looks like. Very customizable, very customizable. Not terribly difficult to figure out how to navigate. The system folder here has a similar layout to Linux, even though it's definitely not got any Linux code. And I like the way these windows, I thought they tiled together in single windows. Maybe there's an option to enable that. I don't know. But you know, the fact that you can't move the window unless you're in this little space here, like it does just give it a different feel. Oh, it's busy downloading its hard out, 39, 38, 37. And the more apps you open up, they seem to, what am I doing? They seem to kind of just accumulate over there. I double click and it disappears, but it's still over here. Show all, hide all. So pretty slick, don't you think? I think so. Look at this. Look at the application manager built into the bar over here, right here on this little, which is showing the processor load, and I assume, and maybe network layer as well. I'm not sure. Okay, there's the network. So anyways, I can force quit applications from here. In a single slide menu there, I have memory usage. The system as a whole is using 582 megs out of my 4 gigs. Look how easy. Threads and CPU usage. Kernel team. Obviously, that's what's... Geez, when you drop onto one of these, it even brings up a sub-menu of more. What the hell's going on? And look at the control you have here, guys. Check this out. On my CPU threads, I can go in and adjust the priority of each thread here and adjust the priority of any of these. There's the kernel daemon, USB Explorer. I don't know what the hell that actually does. Some USB. I like the fact you can control all that easily. Checkboxes, I can even turn off one of my processor cores if I want to. Low latency is enabled. Very slick. Oh, the CD burning thing. So as we can tell, this is maybe not totally a system for a total newbie, as in not a new user, but someone that's not particularly educated on system basics and things. You like, you know, would you understand if you did figure out how to get into this, what DAO versus TAO is? Diskette once is what you want to do, by the way. Close out the system, because RWs with TAO sucks. But anyways, you know, it's not for someone brand new to computing, but it is very niche. And like I said, I doubt this will ever really take off in a huge way. But apparently, from some of the reviews and things I've read, it's very true to the BEOS feel and the workflow. There is a fair amount of software that is free to install. This whole thing is free to use and costs absolutely zero. I feel it's far more lightweight and efficient than Linux for sure. And yeah, so I'm going to roll with this for a while. Let's step back. So guys, there it is. A probably unnecessarily long and probably boring video unless you're particularly interested in Haiku. I'm going to have a link down below in my description, but like I said, it takes a certain type of person, maybe. But I really dig this system. I'm going to be using this for a while. I want to see how it develops and how it goes. Figure out what other applications I can stick on here. I want to try some experiments, like what'll happen if I plug my printer into it. Will it just, you know, figure it out? Do I have to go through any real steps to configure that? You know, stuff like that. So, if you've been curious about Haiku and wondered what it looked like, I've showed you. I've given you a very quick, sloppy demonstration. And I hope you'll give it a shot. If you're the type at all that likes this kind of stuff, give it a shot. What the hell do you have to lose? I mean, at least fire it up in VirtualBox, right? Because I know my next project is going to be Temple OS. I don't know how to write any code whatsoever, so it's going to be a useless thing for me, totally. But, you know, just check out what Terry Davis wrote. Cool, right? But anyways, yeah, so thank you, and thank you to the folks at Haiku. I love what you're doing here. I really hope this will do better and then succeed. Because I think they've got something beautiful here. Like, the whole aesthetic of this minimalist system to me is very beautiful. I love it. Yeah, so BitPusher is out. Thank you for hanging out with me. See ya.